We're going to talk Broken Realms Teclis. Welcome to the Grizzled Warmaster. I'm Mike, and I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of the army upgrades in Broken Realms Teclis. Now, I know Doug's going to be doing breakdowns of all the Lumineth stuff for you, and he's probably going to be working on the Teclis book. But there's a couple armies in there that are affected that I play personally, which are the cities of Sigmar and the Maggotkin of NIPGLE. And I just want to take this time and kind of break this down, since Doug don't play those armies, and I do. I figured I would break these down and tell you whether or not they're any good, what I think of them, and whether or not they're worth it. So we're going to jump in and talk about those two, and then I'll leave the rest of the armies in there for Doug to talk about if he wants to. So here we go. Alright guys, let's talk about Settlers Gain, the newest city for Cities of Sigmar in the Teclis book. This is really good. Let's take a look at what it gives you here. So, Cities of Learning, you have to choose keyword for Cities of Sigmar army using Strongholds of Order battle trait in the Battle Tome Cities of Sigmar. You can choose Settlers Gain keyword instead of those listed, and Settlers Gain army must be from Heish. So it gives you another city here, another keyword to go through. You're from Heish, so you can actually have access to, like, the all the stuff from there, like the Ciari True Blade, I believe is what it's called, the relic. Lets you reroll ones to hit, which is pretty good. It's got a couple traits, and these are the ones they previewed earlier. Lumineth Tutors. You can choose one extra Settlers Gain Free Guild hero or Settlers Gain Collegiate Arcane hero. So either one of the human heroes or the one of the mages, wizards, to have an artifact of power in a Settlers Gain army. In addition, you can add one to the casting rolls of Settlers Gain Collegiate Arcane wizards. So once again, kind of representing the magical supremacy of the cities of Sigmar, giving that +1 arcane. We're going to come back to this here about the extra artifact of power, because here it mentions Free Guild heroes and Collegiate Arcane heroes, but in the book, in the artifacts section, it just lists the Collegiate Arcane heroes able to take those artifacts. So we're going to come back to this. I think it's a typo over there. And then we have Warriors of the High Districts. When you choose Settlers Gain Army, 1 in every 4 units can be a Lumineth Realms Lord unit. This is in addition to the option of 1 in every 4 units being a Stormcast Eternals unit. So, and they gain, the City of Sigmar and Settlers Gain keywords. So this opens up a wide possibility of combinations, guys, because we have access to all the cool Lumineth Realm Lord stuff, like especially some of the heroes that are really good out there. And then, access again to the Stormcast Eternal stuff. So combined, you could have some really good combos in there. We're going to be looking at that a little bit later, but yeah, so far pretty good. So let's see, we got a command ability, some command traits here with Settlers Gain. So the command ability is Elven Training. At the start of a Battle Shock phase, pick one friendly Settlers Gain Lumineth Realm Lord's hero. Do not take Battle Shock tests in that phase for friendly Settlers Gain Free Guild or Settlers Gain Collegiate Arcane units wholly within 18 inches of that hero. So that is pretty cool. That is a 18-inch immune to Battle Shock buff. You keep the we got out there. So now this has to be a Lumineth Realm Lord's hero. So this is another reason we would take one of those cool Lumineth Realm Lord's heroes out there just to use this ability here, because it is really good. And again, this is the theme of this of this city here, is kind of like the elder elves, teaching the humans. So there's a lot of that throughout the themes of this, the abilities. All right, let's take a look at the command traits. They have personal levitation. The general gains fly. It's could be useful especially with some of the buffs that the general gives. So, being able to maneuver him around the board quite a bit. I know when I play my Greywater Fastness, a big part of that was I had these big units of gun lines and everything, and trying to manipulate and maneuver the hero around to get the all the buffs and command abilities off. Sometimes I kind of box myself in, but this would help. Although, I mean, I don't know if it's when I would take that off. And Strategic Mastermind, however, started the hero phase. If the general's alive, gain a command point on a 4+. Command point's very important, right? So, if you get the, you already have your advisor giving you command points, or, a chance of command points every round. This is another command point every round. Certain, these command points are very important. So if you're going to take the battalion with this, which, I would suggest once we get to the battalion, that gives you, start off with one. This is where, this is probably the best of the command traits out of this, this city here. And then we have Raging Outbursts. All the bearers' melee attacks gain +1 to hit and wound, but they have a -1 to save rolls against melee attacks. So this one it's a little difficult because usually you don't want your Cities of Sigmar heroes in combat. They're there to buff the troops, right? They're not the most powerful. But at the same time, if you got a free girl general, right? With this, he's hitting on 2+, wounding on 2+, with his 2 damage weapon, he could do some damage. Although I can't imagine ever taking it over Strategic Mastermind, or even Personal Levitation, to get those move that buff bubble around on the board here. So Raging Outburst, it could be cool on a free girl general, but I can't see myself taking it. I mean, it makes them decent. Don't get me wrong, but I would rather go with Strategic Mastermind, I think. All right, so now let's take a look at the artifacts of power you get with Settler's Gain in this book, and these are in addition to the Sayari True Blade from Haish. Again, some of these are good, some of these are okay, and then some of them are just, I don't know why you'd ever take them, but we'll go into them here. First up, we have the Heartstone. First on the bear is slain, they regain 1 wound on a 4+, and any remaining wounds are negated. This one's pretty decent. Gives them some staying power because you need those heroes. You need to be able to use those command points. You need to be able to buff the troops, and this is a good way of keeping them alive. The next one is Talisman of Dispellation, and at first I thought this was a good one. I thought it was pretty cool when I first read this. Unbinding an endless spell does not reduce the number of spells the wizard can cast. So basically gives you a free dispel on endless spells each round, which I thought was kind of cool, especially with the prevalence of endless spells and that. So, however, it was cool until I read the next one, the Silver Plated Wand. And the Silver Plated Wand, the wizard can cast 1 extra spell each turn, right? They get 1 extra spell, which can be used to, dispel an endless spell. It doesn't take away from. So it does the same thing Talisman of Dispellation does, only it's more useful because it's not just a dispel, it can be used to cast a spell as well. So I don't know why you would ever take a Silver Plated Wand over the Talisman of Dispellation, unless you had access to 2 artifacts, and then I still wouldn't take. There's others I'd take over the Talisman of Dispellation after the Silver Plated Wand. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a cool idea, the Talisman, but the Silver Plated Wand just kind of negates its usefulness, in my opinion. Then we have the Blade of Leaping Bronze, which is actually a callback from a way early artifact from back in the day, the old fantasy. But which is cool to see its inclusion here. See, the bearer gains +2 attacks with one of their melee weapons. So this could, again, this along with the command trait of the Raging command trait could really turn a free guild general into a kind of a beast on the battlefield. But Again, you really don't want it. The purpose of these heroes is to buff the troops in the City of the Sigmar army. You really don't want to see much combat unless it's like necessary towards the end of the game here, right? So I don't know if I would use. I mean, there's other useful things on here. It's kind of cool, and I like the fact that it's in here. But there's other artifacts I would take over this one and before this one here. So then we have the Amulet of Haste on a 2+. Bearer can charge after they've taken a run move again. But your heroes are not, supposed to be in combat here in this army, so I really don't know why I would take that one. It's kind of useless. And then Stone Spirit Armor, negate wounds on a 6+, and can ignore spell rolls on a 5+. So, again, this is after the fact wounds. Save one. I don't know if I take this over the Hearthstone. It's kind of a toss up here. 6+ is nice, but I'm going to 4+ to keep you alive. And me personally, I'd probably take the Hearthstone over the Spirit Stone armor. Now, again, I'm going to point out currently the book states only collegiate arcane heroes can take these relics. I will expect that to be errated just because of some of these are definitely not wizard or magic item. I mean, why would you ever give a wizard Blade of Leaping Bronze or the Amulet of Haste? It doesn't make any sense. Plus the settlers gain ability to get an extra artifact for, it specifically states, Free Guild heroes and Free Guild wizards. So just having the Free Guild hero, wizard doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I expect that to be changed. But as of right now, some of these are even more useless because they're, we only can go on a wizard. So, all right. So let's take a look at Settlers Gain spell lore. You got a new spell lore here, and in addition to Arcane Missile and Shield, you get 3 spells. A good one, again, same theme here. A good one, an okay one, and a trash one. So let's take a look at Drain Magic. These are all casting value 6, by the way. So you got casting value 6. They got a +1 to cast if you have, with the ability here, and you're casting mostly on 5+, 4+ sometimes if you get your magic buff up there. So Drain Magic, all wizards, including yours, within 12 inches are -2 to cast, dispel, and unbind. So this is something that can be useful strategically. This could really save you. I mean, this could really, turn the tide of a game here, but it has to be used strategically, right? I mean, obviously, you only use it's the last spell you cast during a phase, so you get all your spells off first without the minus, and then, could really, if you get in an area where you're, got some wizards surrounding you, you could really shut them down. So it can be useful, but only in certain situations, right? The thing with these spells is the 12-inch range on all these kind of limits them a little bit here. Some of these would be, a slightly bigger range, like an 18-inch range would turn some of these into an okay spell into an amazing spell. So, but at 12 inches, they're kind of limited. Shield of Light. Unit wholly within 12 inches of the caster can ignore wounds on a 6+. So it's another 6+ after save on wounds. If you take the battalion that comes with this in here, then it has an ability that does it better. I mean, you look at just in the cities of Sigmar, like a runesmith and give a 5+ to Duardin. So there's other things in here that do this better. A 12-inch range, I can't see using this one a whole lot. And then we have Illuminate. Gives the entire army +1 to hit with missile weapons against units within 12 inches of the caster. This one, again, could be really good. I, playing Greywater Fastness before, really like missile weapons. I have a bunch of handgunners and, artillery and stuff like that. So it's +1 to hit is awesome, but you got to get your mage out there within 12 inches of what you're shooting at. So again, this is another one where the 12-inch range really limits this. However, I mean, you take, the Umbral Spell Portal, and all of a sudden now you're +1 to hit with missile weapons, anywhere on the board almost. So it can be really good. There just needs to be a couple other things to ensure that it's as good as it can be. But like I said, strategically, some of these are good. Shield of Light, I don't think I'd ever take. Drain Magic Situational, Illuminate could be really good, especially with the Umbral Spell Portal. Alright, guys, let's talk about this battalion. Alright, so we got the XINTIL War-MAGI Battalion. And the cool thing about this is, I mean, these models were kind of hard to get before. When the Cities of Sigmar book came out, I was looking for a Luminarch of Haish, try and get, and, they were hard to get a hold of. These things were kind of sold out. It's great they're putting these in a box set now, and at a significant savings, right? You're going to get this at a savings. You get, the Mage on foot, and then the Celestial Hurricanum and the Luminarch all in one box set. And the great thing about it is this comes with so many extra parts. Like, you're going to build one of them with the Mage on the thing, but the other one is without the Mage, so you can actually have another Mage on foot when, with the extra parts. So the battalion itself is 140 points. It consists of a Battle Mage on foot, who is Archibald Lazarine, one Luminarch of Haish with no Battle Mage, who's the Beacon of Intellect, one Celestial Hurricanum with Battle Mage. So very specific here. You're going to see a lot of these battalions in this book are either themed from the story. They're going to have named characters in them, makes them unique, and they got to be built out a certain way. And this one here specifically, one Battle Mage on foot, one Luminarch no Battle Mage, one Celestial Hurricanum with Battle Mage. But the abilities you get with this, besides the other one, I mean, the command point's good. The extra artifact, when we just looked at the artifacts, they're not, extra artifacts, whatever. The extra command point's very important, starting out with one. But the Beacon of Intellect, when you use the Searing Beam of Light ability from Luminarch, you can re-roll the roll that determines the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So the D3 mortal wounds you're going to re-roll on. In addition, when you use the Aura of Protection ability for Luminarch, you add 1 to the roll that determines if a wound or mortal wound is negated. So basically this does, what the shield protection spell does, only better, right? It's a 5+ instead of a 6+. So same range, get your mage out there. You'd want them in this anyway to protect them and get them out there. So I can't imagine using that spell when you have this, if you take this battalion, which, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't with this, because if you're playing Settler's Gain, and you, instead of a 6+, you get a 5+ protection, negate wound roll. So all in all, really cool. I'm excited because, like I said, I was looking for one of these for my Greywater Fastness army, and now I can have a chance to pick these up as a set here, and work on my Settler's Gain army. All right, and the other army I play out of this here is the Maggotkin of NIPGLE, and they also get some love here in this book besides the Cities of Sigmar. So what Maggotkin get, they get 3 updated War Scrolls, which is great because, I mean, it's one of the older ones, so it needs some updating. 3 of the War Scrolls of things that are not normally played, or I mean, I don't normally play with them, but now I'm going to with the updated scrolls, and they also get a battalion. So we're going to look at those here. The first updated War Scroll is going to be for the Sloppity Bile Piper, and again, this kind of goes back. I didn't have one of these because it harkens back to the more the comical Nurgle aesthetic, which, I mean, I'm okay with some of it, like especially with the Nurglings and stuff like that, but I prefer like the darker aesthetic than the, if it gets too silly or too comical, I'm not, that's why I didn't take this one or the next one specifically. But I can overlook that for this update here. So, first off, the Disease of Mirth ability adds 1 to the bravery of friendly Nurgle demons wholly within 14 inches. Okay, so again, this is a buff here. It's now 14 inches instead of 7 inches, which is double the range. That's pretty huge. And the gut pipes, the Jolly gut pipes, completely changed, right? And there's no more I think re-rolling charges or whatever. This thing, again, totally within 14 inches. So you got 3 abilities to pick from, and they're all good. And they give you like some tactical flexibility on the battlefield. So the first one is Stabbing will go +1 attack characteristics of melee weapons of friendly Nurgle demons. I mean, come on. Once you have your one of the drawbacks of Plague Bearers is they don't do a whole lot of damage here, but now we double their attacks, and all of a sudden you got big units, with double the attacks. That's pretty good. Early one evening, my pustule was seeping. Again, this is kind of harkening back to the whole humorous side of Nurgle here. Unmodified hit rolls of 6 inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to any other wounds. I mean, if you got those big packs of plague bearers out there, doing mortal wounds on 6s. I mean, that's pretty good, especially when going up against like the high armored units. My love is like a ripe fart. Yep. Enemy units within 3 inches of a friendly Nurgle demon cannot finish pile-in moves closer to a model from that unit than what they started. So this one can really shut down, and people, especially if they charge in, they can only get in with a couple models. Keep them from wrapping around and moving in here, and it's getting any closer, so you can kind of limit, kind of bottleneck what's attacking your units, giving them even more staying power than before. So really good. All 3 of these really good. Now again, this comes at a increase of cost. Like all these War Scroll changes, they're about a 50-point increase in cost, 40 to 50 points depending. But worth it, because these are models that I didn't even take before, and now they're actually useful. I think it's worth the extra points. But we'll take a look. Okay, so the next War Scroll that got updated was the Spoilpox Scrivener. Okay, so quite a few changes on this guy as well. These Disgusting Sneeze has been improved to a 2+ to hit instead of a 3+. The Extended Maw improves to a 3+ to wound instead of a 4+, making it actually useful. But the save has been reduced to 5+. But I mean, that's fine for this guy here. The fact that he can do something in combat is impressive. But what's impressive is the Keep Counting I'm Watching You ability. Okay, so what this does, you choose 1 friendly Plague Bearer unit wholly within 14 of this model to grant 1 of the following abilities. And again, he's got 3 abilities: Tally of Blows, +1 attack characteristics for melee, Studied Lacerations, improve Rend by 1, and Recorded Stamina +1 save rolls. So again, you're going to want to keep this guy and the Bile Piper behind your big units of Plague Bearers to buff them. I mean, can you imagine, like, tripling the attacks on giant units of Plague Bearers, right? So you get +1 attack from the Bile Piper, +1 attack from the Scrivener, and all of a sudden you've got a 20-man unit of Plague Bearers having 60 attacks instead of 20. So really good. Or you can have them have 6s do. This guy can give them the +1 characteristics, and the Bile Piper can give them the on 6s they do mortal wounds. Or you can improve the Rend by 1 if they're up against armored guys. So a lot of tactical flexibility in here that you didn't have before. I think it's well worth the extra 50 points for these models. Okay, so the last of the updated War Scrolls, the Beast of Nurgle. Now these are one of my favorite units from the very beginning. I like all the way back. I got some modeled up back when you could put Plague Bearers on them for Plague Riders back in the day. These were always my favorite. Although the latest rendition does kind of, like I said, gone back towards that more comical looking side of it, but that's okay. There's plenty of older models that are actually cool looking to use, but this thing has been completely changed. No one took these. Okay, if you played Maggotkin, you never saw these unless, I mean, people were taking spawns over these guys. If they had the extra points left over. But they have a complete stat line change. All right, I mean, they've been completely redone in this. They've given them extra wound now, right? So they're actually, have more staying power. They have more consistent, higher number of attacks with their profile. It was way less randomness than they had before. Now you're going to consistently have a higher number of attacks than you did before. You're with +1 wound. Their attacks gain rend now on their main attack, and they do D2 damage on their main weapon instead of 1. So they do more damage. They have rend. They have a higher number of attacks, and they're have more wounds. So right away, that's worth the extra 50 points for these guys then and there. But they also have a couple other changes too. They have the Attention Seekers still, which is where basically they can retreat, and still, they can retreat, and or they can run. They can charge after they run, basically. But they gain fly when they have this. So when they retreat back, one of the things Taxi before was kind of box them in, so they couldn't retreat out of combat, because that's their big thing with their slime trail causing damage, is to get up into combat and then retreat out and then charge back in. Now they can actually do that regardless, because they can fly. They can fly past people. So that's really cool ability. Buffs that. And then they get impact hits. They have a new ability, Pestilent Battering Rams. So after a charge move, roll a die for each enemy unit within 1 inch of that model on a 2+, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. So this thing is basically, the rules now reflect what they're meant to do in the lore, right? They just go bounding into combat and bounce out and then bounce back into combat and leaving slime trails. So, I mean, this is really great. They do a lot more damage, so they charge in. They got impact hits now, right? They do more attacks. They have rend, more damage. Then they can retreat out of combat, leaving a slime trail, and they take more mortal wounds, and then they can just charge again. So I think this is probably the best upgrade for a model, for a war scroll that they've had, and you're gonna see a lot more Beasts of Nurgle in Maggotkin armies going forward. Okay, so let's talk about the battalion here from the Maggotkin, the Invidian Plague Host. It's 120 points, and again, this is going to be coming out, and this is a really good savings on this box set here, right? It's $90. You get basically 2 boxes of Plague Bearers plus the Scrivener and the Bilepiper. So it's great for me because, again, I didn't have those 2 heroes before because I didn't like the looks of them, but now they're worth it. I can actually take them, and a way to buff out your Plague Bearer units there. 20 Plague Bearers. So pretty great. So the 120 points consists of 1 Sloppity Bilepiper, a named one, Gordo Purple Skull, and a Spoilpox Scrivener, also another named one, Nordrak the Snitch, and then 2 Plague Bearer units. Okay. And the abilities is they get Bulwark of Flesh. So the first time a Plague Bearer unit from this battalion is destroyed, a new unit of 10 Plague Bearers is added to your army, set up within 6 inches of the edge, 9 inches away from enemy units. So they're already resourceful, right? This is in addition to any of the other summoning, their banners bringing people back. There's, keeping them on the battlefield as much as possible. When they finally get through all that resilience, boom, they get to come back, right? So if you take this battalion, there's 2 units of Plague Bearers that are, going to come back after they get killed off. Or at least 10 of them will. Like, if you increase the amount, you get bigger units, you're still going to get 10 of them come back after it's destroyed. So that is an awesome ability. And then they get a command trait too. The Rude Limericks. In addition, add an additional 1 to the bravery characteristics of Nurgle Demon units from this battalion, wholly within 14 inches of the Sloppity Bilepiper. So basically, this kind of returns his old ability of the the +1 bravery. So they get +2 bravery. I don't know if you need 12 bravery on Nurgle Demons. I don't know how often they break like that, but Hey, it's good to have, especially if there's a lot more of those bravery debuffing stuff out there. So it can be useful. I mean, you're getting this for the Bulwark of Flesh, basically. If you're going to be, and here's the thing, what I like about battalions are the ones that you're going to take anyway, right? If you're playing Maggotkin and Nurgle, you're playing Plague Bearers. You're going to end with these new rules. You're going to want a Sloppy Bowel Piper, and you're going to want a Scrivener in there in your army. So you're going to take them anyway for the extra 120 points. That guarantees that your two Plague Bearer units here are going to come back after they're destroyed. So I think it's worth it. That's like basically getting, 20 Plague Bearers for 120 points. So worth it in my opinion. Like I said, these two armies, the City of Sigmar and Maggotkin Urgles, are two of the I play out of this book. So yeah, I can't wait to try out these new rules. So, and there you have it, folks. The Cities of Sigmar and Maggotkin and Nurgle updates from Broken Realms Teclis. All in all, guys, I think this is great. I mean, I think the Settlers Gain is an awesome addition to the Cities of Sigmar. I mean, my army's all painted up Greywater Fastness, but I'd be willing to repaint for this, or even better, an excuse to buy more Free Guild guys to paint up a Settlers Gain army and borrow Doug's Luminous stuff. So, to play in that, I want to play some of that stuff against him. So, as your own elves against you. So, excited about that. The Maggotkin and Nurgle. Nurgle's always been one of my favorites since the very beginning. Nurgle's what got me into fantasy way back in the early 90s. So, just those models. So, always been a Nurgle fan. And seeing these upgrades, especially the Beast of Nurgle, which is always one of my favorite units, to see it, get the love it has now. Super excited to try those out here. And the battalions, both worth it. Both of them are, they're worth. I think they're worth the cost of the battalion themselves. And the box sets are awesome because you get awesome savings, and there's nothing extraneous in either one of those two that you wouldn't want. So I'm excited. I mean, me personally, who plays both these armies, I'm excited to buy both those box sets. So, all right, tell me below what you guys think of these. You see a Sigmar player, you're a Maggotkin or Nurgle player, you excited about these changes? Is there anything you don't like? You disagree with me? You don't think they're worth the points? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll have that discussion, guys. And as always, thank you for watching, subscribing, and hitting that like button. We really appreciate it here. This channel's grown quite a bit in just the beginning of the year. We had a slow year where we didn't put up many videos, but now we're back in it, guys. And hopefully we'll be getting into playing some games soon here. Be super excited about that. So thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.